Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back. Saturday, about 81 degrees outside, down by Lake Michigan. Gonna do a little beach tour. Okay, so I had to go down quite an embankment. There's a pretty steep hill that goes down. And now we're on the beach level. And I'm in Caledonia, Wisconsin today. This is the area that I grew up in. So I have very fond memories of the beach. I've recorded other videos down here before, so if you guys have been watching my channel for a while, you may recognize some of this stuff. This is Lake Michigan. It's the second largest of the 5 Great Lakes. It's a beautiful day today. Felt like I should get out and get some sun, some fresh air, and some exercise. I spent many hours down here as a child, playing in the sand, swimming, fishing, all of that. There are some other people down here with dogs. I don't have my gimbal today, so it may be a little bit bouncy. I apologize about that. I do have my mic. They call it the dead cat mic. It's like a little fur ball type mic, so I'm hoping it's not too windy. Looks like somebody built some kind of a makeshift structure out here. A little kind of a hut. Pretty cool. Get a lot of driftwood that washes up over here. There's a little channel. Sometimes that channel reaches the lake. Not always, not every year. We've been in pretty much of a drought this year. Everything's pretty dry. My lawn is suffering from it, but so are the fish because they're not going to be able to spawn up this river now. There's no way it's going to reach by the end of the summer. Maybe on the way back we can kind of walk along that river up that way a little bit. I'm going to try not to make the video too long unless I see interesting things, but I don't want to bore you guys. So I'm just going to take little snippets here and there. I'm not going to run a continuous video. I'll just do like little 2 and 3 minute clips. But there it is, Lake Michigan. Sometimes people come down here at night and they have little romantic fires by the lake. This particular area, it's not heavily populated. This is kind of a hidden gem down here, which was always a good thing, because I think if too many people found out about this, there'd be a lot more trash and just, you know, all the different bad things that happen when groups of people show up. But for the most part, like I said, it's a hidden gem and most people do respect it down here. I have found artifacts from Native Americans too down here, arrowheads and such, over the years. So we made a new friend down here. It's a German short hair. He's swimming. What a beautiful dog. He's being trained right now how to swim. So the one eyesore down here is that coal burning plant down at the end. That's actually the one of the neighboring cities. That's Oak Creek, and that plant has been there for decades. And they recently, and when I say recently, like in the last 10 years, they knocked down the original smokestacks and they replaced them with multi-million dollar stacks that have like state-of-the-art filtration systems in there to, I guess, reduce carcinogens and coal smoke from getting into the air. But try as they might, they're not going to get everything. So it's a really nice plant. It looks tiny from here, but it's actually, like, when you get down there, it's almost like a city in itself. It's huge. And that's part of the We Energies, Wisconsin Electric Energies conglomerate. It's like a monopoly, and a lot of the land that they occupy has been taken over by eminent domain. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that term or not, but they can just legally buy you out. And there was a lot of farmers and farmland that lost their land to We Energies, but they did pay them the fair market value. But how do you pay for something that is, maybe a family-owned property for generations? And how do you put a price tag on that? There were a couple of holdouts. There were a lot of people that were up in arms about it. But that's a little brief history of We Energies, and I'm not gonna focus too much on that because we're gonna look at nature stuff today. So maybe some of you are curious if you saw that in the background. What is it? So, all right, I'm gonna cut it here, and we'll pick up in a little bit. Some of these cliffs, we called these cliffs as children, as kids. We would come out here, and up on top is a woods. I'll see if I can get a little footage of that as well. I'll try to climb up there. But these cliffs have taken many different forms over the years due to erosion, and they never really look the same year after year. They really take a pounding, and you can see a lot of these trees that have fallen over time, and then they get washed out into the lake, and they get churned around in the sand and rocks, and they become driftwood eventually. All the stuff that you see laying along the beach. Some of these trees have been growing up in the woods for 50, 70, 100 years maybe, and now they're victim to erosion up there. As I was walking past this little section here, it's like a little valley of erosion. You can see a lot of trees and plant life and such that has come down from up above. And I couldn't help but notice just one little grouping of, I don't know if those are buttercups, I'm not sure what those are, but just a little beautiful bouquet of wildflowers here. And I think that symbolizes hope. Everything else around it is falling apart, but it's standing strong, looking beautiful. Do you guys remember a group, hair band from the 80s called Warrant, with Janie Lane as the lead singer? They were a great group. But that power plant in the background reminds me of the very first section of the song Heaven, where he says, got a picture of your house and you're standing by the door. It's black and white and faded and it's looking pretty warm. See the factory that I worked, silhouetted in the back. That always reminded me of that song. And I know I couldn't carry a tune if you gave me a bucket, but I still feel that way now. And that was years ago that I felt that. And I still, when I see that, I think of that song. So we're making progress here. We're about half a mile or so from the point where I started to record. And it's just kind of looking like more of the same, which I'm not complaining because I love it down here. This is one of my mental getaways. I come down here and recharge my mental battery. But it may be a little bit boring for you guys. So what I'm going to do, next time I find an area that's a little bit less treacherous than a straight up and down angle there on the cliffs, I'm going to try to make my way up and record footage from the top looking down, because you can actually walk all the way down to the end. It's probably about two more miles or so. It looks closer than it actually is, and there's a big bend that kind of curves around. So last time I was down there was about 2 summers ago with my son. We took a walk over there. But you definitely have to pack like waters or Gatorades and a snack or something like that, because it's quite a hike and then you got to go back. So I don't have any of that stuff today. I'm not going to go all the way to the end. But if you guys are ever interested in a video like that, let me know and I'll prepare one. I'll put together a backpack of supplies and take a walk down there. But for today, I think this will be about as far as we go on the beach. I'm going to start making my way up to the top. So I'm about 3/4 up the cliff, and you can get a kind of a different perspective of the different layers of erosion. And I'm a little bit out of breath. So I got about 1/4 left to go up. There's more of these. I don't know if those are daisies or buttercup. I'm not sure. But they're really beautiful. And then there's some, I don't know if you can see that purple clover. It's really, really nice. Little things like that I didn't appreciate when I was younger. And now as I'm getting older, I appreciate all that stuff much more. So here is the perspective from the top of the cliff, and you can see all these trees they're on borrowed time right now, because it's only a matter of time before they're washed into the lake. And it's strange to think that a drought is saving the trees, because if we had as much rain as we normally get, I think these things would have washed in by now. So the drought is actually saving a tree. But they're hanging on for dear life. So I have a little bit of a dilemma in front of me here. The area of the woods where I climbed up looks like it has a very, very old path, and it's probably a deer path. Looks like it hasn't been trodden upon in years, maybe a decade. So I'm going to have to do some bushwhacking to get through here. So I will be with you in a few moments. Bushwhacking indeed. And on top of that, the mosquitoes are out in full force. Where's my Rambo knife when I need it? You guys remember the Rambo knives from back in the day? I think they sold them at, well, there's a place in my area called 7 Mile Fair. It's kind of like an outdoor rummage sale, kind of a swap meet type deal. And they used to sell those big knives to kids like 10, 12 years old. The kind that you can screw the back off, and there was a compass, a waterproof, or some waterproof matches, and I think there was like a little roll of wire, something like that. But yeah, they had no problem selling that stuff to children back then. These were like big 6 or 7 inch blades. On one side it was a sharpened blade, and on the back of it was like a kind of a serrated edge where you can, I suppose you could probably cut down little tiny branches, but not much more. So here's a trail up here. Kind of forks off, goes that way. Sorry about the quick turning on the camera work here. I gotta be a little more mindful. I don't want to make you guys seasick. Okay, so I feel like I got a pretty good amount of exercise today and some sun and fresh air. I feel pretty good about that. Got the heart rate up, got a little sweat going. I'll take a couple more clips and then I'm gonna head back to my vehicle and head home. But if you guys enjoy this type of video, let me know and I'll do more of them. But they don't seem to get very many views when I post these on the channel. But I'll still do it for those of you who do enjoy them. Here's a plant, I believe these are called May apples, and it's like it's a pretty hardy plant, and I think they call them May apples because in the early spring, March, April, and May, they produce like a flowering bulb. Here's one right here, and these are called the May apples. They're very hard, and almost lost my cord there. Yeah, they can survive in kind of droughty type of weather. When I say drought, it's not to the point where there's a dust bowl or anything like that. It's just that we haven't had the normal amount of rain that we normally get here in the great state of Wisconsin. So everything is pretty dry though. And everybody's lawn, unless you water your lawn, it looks kind of light green or even kind of an early yellowish. Some of these trails haven't been walked on in a long time. I would say there's cobwebs and branches falling over. We used to take our bicycles, we had dirt bikes, not non-motorized dirt bikes, back in here when we were kids. Me and my brother and our buddies. So I'm 4 years older than my brother. I only have one sibling. And so I had all of my friends and all of his friends, and we always had a really big crew of people. Which is weird because these days I don't really have too many friends or anybody that I really hang around with anymore. Everybody's kind of gone and done their own thing, you know. Everybody's married or working, they have their career and all that stuff. I'm kind of an introvert now anyways, really, to be honest. What the heck? Look at the size of this tree, and it looks like it has an old battle scar, like somebody was trying to chop it down or something. What? It looks like it's very old. You can see all the mosquitoes. But this tree has seen some things. Looks like there's old spray paint. Sorry about the heavy breathing. But yeah, this thing, it's got to be, I would say it's probably over 100 years old. But again, I'm not an arborist or a tree expert. But yeah, that looks like it has some age to it, for sure. I remember coming back through this way back in the, it was probably the late 80s. And probably, I think back then I was about a freshman in high school in 89. And there was a new family that moved behind my parents' house in Caledonia. And there was a young girl who was my age and her brother. So their names were, her name was Dawn and her brother's name was Marquez. I still remember them. Lost contact with them for a long time, but we had a little summer fling that year that she moved in. And we used to walk this path. It looked way different back then. You got to remember, this is over 30 years ago. And this would take you right down to the beach. So if you, well, it's hard to explain, but there's an entry to the woods that's a couple miles, I guess that would be from this direction, south and west. And that's where my parents lived. And we were just kind of a stone's throw away from the woods. So she would come and knock on the door and ask for me, and then we would take a walk out here and go down to the beach, swim, hang out, have fun. Those were the good old days, man. But it was a short-lived romance because her family, they moved around a lot. And her dad was a big business guy. And I think they lived behind my parents for about 3 years, and then they moved to Detroit, Michigan on business, and then I lost touch with her. And I don't do Facebook, and I don't like social media at all. This right here, YouTube, is the only social media that I do. But if I had Facebook, I would look her up, maybe, just say hi. I'm sure that she's married and has kids and maybe even grandkids by now. This was a long time ago. But it's a good memory, and when I didn't even think about it until now that I was out here. It just kind of dawned on me that, yeah, we used to walk out this way. You know what else? I just thought about this too. That same year, I'm going to have to look this up because this will verify the year that it was. But I was just telling you that story about Dawn, her and I walking down to the lake. That year that I met her, the biggest song on the radio was by Anthrax. It was called "I'm the Man." I think that's what it was called, right? Anthrax, "I'm the Man." And I had the cassette single because, yes, they didn't have CDs back then. This was still in the days of the cassette tape. And I bought the cassette single, and I had a radio, but back in the days we used to call it a boom box. I don't even know if they call them boom boxes anymore. You guys probably think I'm crazy, but I would play that tape over and over and over. It was a great song. So I think that was around, I'm thinking that was around 89, because I think that was my freshman year in high school. So this, in a roundabout way, I'm back to the original trail that we were on when, this is the trail Dawn and I used to take. But it's so different now because there's so much erosion. We were never this close to the edge. We still had a good majority of land to our left here, and yeah, it looks way different, but yet it still feels the same. I don't know if that makes sense. Looks like there's some raccoon prints, and then maybe either a coyote or a dog, probably most likely a dog, and some deer. There are quite a few coyotes out here though, but if I had to bet on it, I would think it's a dog, just because there's a lot of people that bring their dogs down to the beach. I do as well, and I think probably the next time I come out here, I'll bring my dogs with me, and then you guys can see them running up and down the shoreline. They love it at the beach. They really do. They get a lot of good exercise, but they get so filthy, and it's kind of hard for me to bathe them. They're so big, especially Hannah. She's 100 pounds plus. So the trail system here is different than it used to be, because it used to keep going that way, and it would hug the cliff line and go right down to the beach. It would slowly taper off where you didn't have to, exert yourself too much or jump down steep walls or anything. But it looks like nobody's been out there in years, so we're gonna have to come up with a different pathway here. So I'll pause it and we'll come back in a minute. Okay, so I haven't reviewed any of the footage. I hope it's not too bouncy. I'll review it when I get home. If it looks like it's too bouncy, well, if you're seeing this, that means that my quality control passed this inspection, and if I think it's not too bouncy, I'll upload it. But if it looks like it's just a bouncing mess, I probably won't upload it. It's probably bouncing out because I'm walking down a steep decline here. And everything's so dry that it's almost like it's slippery. Dry powdered dust. It's a really nice fragrance in the air too. It almost smells like lilac or some type of floral scent. It's lovely. It's very lovely. Back in my childhood days, I would see a log like that, or a fallen tree that's outstretched over that little gully down there, and I would not hesitate to run across that. These days, when you get my age, when you fall, it hurts. It hurts a lot, and I don't want to fall or hurt. And no, I'm not a sissy. I'm just, when you get older, you get smarter. That's all it is. Okay, how am I going to do this without falling? Let's see here. Hold on. You guys be careful, guys. I don't want you to slip too. Here, I got you. Okay, we're good. All right, we're good. Teamwork. This was always a cool little place to go. It almost looks like a little valley that was dug out by glaciers, but in reality it's just kind of a little wash basin that gets eroded over time by water, and it's kind of a clay type material out here. I'll see if I can get close and show you some of the walls over here. I don't even know if any of you guys are still watching at this point. You can, I don't know if you're going to be able to tell or not, but you can see it's like you probably can't tell, but it's like a clay material. Sun feels really, really good. But I found in what am I gonna say, Native American. You got to be careful what you say these days. I found Native American artifacts out in here as well over the years. We used to find really nice like arrowheads and stuff like that. Some of them were broken, but some of them were beautiful. Excuse me, a little burp. Yeah, so this goes for a little ways. I'm not sure if you guys even want to see this. It would be cool to find an arrowhead, but to be honest, we used to come down here with there would be like 4, 5, 6 of us, and then we would have to overturn a lot of rocks. They weren't just on top, but check this out. It looks like there's a fossil. If you guys can see that, let me put that down here. You know, and sometimes we would spend hours down here and only find like one, or maybe none, or sometimes 2, but they weren't just popping out at you. It would be sheer luck if I just saw one sitting on top. All right, I think I'm gonna turn you guys off here and we'll catch up in a minute. Wow, man, I'm out of breath because I've been bushwhacking for like the last 20 minutes off camera, and I'm not even anywhere near a trail, not even a deer trail or an animal trail. The only 2 guys foolish enough to walk out here are me and Bigfoot, and I haven't seen him today. I think he took the day off, so it's just me out here. But check out this tree. Again, if I was a kid, probably even into my 20s, I would have been all over that thing. I would try to climb as high up there as I could, but now, I don't think so. All right, just wanted to check in again really quick. I'm out of breath again, but we made it to somewhat of a clearing, and there's the creek. And at the very end, I don't know if you're going to be able to see that, but in that area right there, that is Lake Michigan, so we can see the light at the end of the tunnel. All right, going to take a break for a minute. So I'm just about out. I think this is going to be the second to last clip for this video, but I wanted to show you this tree that I remember as a kid. It's another big boy here. I would say it's over 100, maybe 150 or more. But the thing about this tree, even when I was a kid in the 80s, it was old, because they used to have, somebody had a tree fort up here. I don't know if you can see those nails on that branch right there. Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit. But those are just the remnants of what was a huge tree fort. And that tree fort was old, even in the 80s when I was a kid. So it had probably been put together by kids from the 60s or 70s, probably 70s. Kids that paved the way for me, before me. All right, I'm gonna shut it down here. I'll give you one more parting clip and we'll end it. Okay guys, so this will be the last clip. I'll give my parting statements and my final goodbyes. I just wanted to show you though that there's a road right there. You can see houses across the street. There's vehicles parked. There's a road right there. Back when I was a kid, there used to be a gravel road that went down to the lake. But it has since been washed away and overgrown. The road was way before my time. It was just a gravel road, and guys were able to drive their vehicles down there. They could launch a boat or park down there, but times have changed over the years. It's no longer here. But at one time, there was a wide gravel road, probably about the size of like a bike trail. It had that same kind of a look to it as well. It looked like a bike trail, but it was wide enough for a car or a truck. And I just wanted to kind of share that in case you guys wanted to know a little history about this place. And here's where we started. This is the way to go down to the Blue Jewel, Lake Michigan. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Leave any comments below. And if you'd like to see more of this, you can see a couple speedboats over there. Or are those, actually those aren't boats at all, those are the jet skis. You can rent jet skis at a harbor down the way. Maybe I'll take you guys down there someday. If you're interested in this type of video, leave a thumbs up and a comment to let me know that you want to see more, and I'll definitely do more. There are way more places and spots I can share with you guys if you're interested. With that said, guys, take care. Thank you very much for watching. If you made it to the end, hashtag Lake Michigan in the comments section. That's kind of a wink and a nod to me that you made it through, and I do appreciate you. Take care, guys.